Now I'm kind of debating on if I just want to use my actual name or not, because I'm going to feel awkward saying, hi, my name's Rain.
What up? My name's Eric. This is Threads Unraveled.
I can't take myself seriously. I'm Serenity. Our first podcast episode.
More to come. I'll be doing Am I the Asshole ones.
I will be focusing on horror. Our socials will be linked below. It is pretty much the same over all platforms, but they will be linked. Threads Unraveled, basically we're going to be doing stories from r/nosleep and stories from r/am I the asshole. It will rotate from week to week. Today, we're going to be doing stories from r/nosleep. This week we're doing a horror story. Hi, real quickly, I would like to add in a trigger warning. This story does have child abuse in it. So continue at your own risk. This week's story is, has anyone ever heard of a show called Little Annie's Amazing Adventure? The story is written by Horror Junkie 123 on Reddit. Okay.
Alright, so what's this one about?
I already said the title. The point of me reading it is reading it on the camera. I'm not giving away spoilers.
But, like, you could give a general description, you know? You have read the whole thing, right?
No.
This is gonna be a disaster.
Yeah, it is.
Bear with us.
This story is from the point of view of one of the actors on set who played Annie.
Reading that.
I want you. I sounded fine.
But I looked like I was crying.
Okay, Hey kids, it's your friendly neighborhood clown, Mr. Pip. Ah! Ah! A cacophony of terrified shrieks erupted across the stage as mortified little kids ran around in a panic frenzy. That's how we were chosen. Those of us who stayed calm and... That's how we were chosen. Those of us who stayed calm and composed were selected as child actors for Little Annie's Amazing Adventure. God, how I wish I would have joined those horrified children all those years ago. You know I did that just to fuck with you, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Pip, the protagonist's sidekick, wasn't inherently scary on his own. Not in my opinion, at least. He was your stereotypical clown. Red nose, polka dot jumpsuit, big floppy shoes, the works. I was never afraid of clowns, yet something about Mr. Pip always felt off, as if he was hiding something just below the surface of that caked-on face paint. Something dark and twisted that none of us were meant to see. On the first day of shooting, I found myself sitting crisscross applesauce on the stage, in a circle with 4 other children. The director wore a warm smile as he made his way to each of us. You will play George. You will play Alice, and you, he smirked, looming over me. You will be the star of the show. Say hello to Annie, everyone. I smiled wide, my cheeks burning red with a mixture of shock and excitement. Whereas other kids might have been reluctant to play the lead role. I reveled in it. I craved attention as a child. So I was elated when my peers began clapping for me. Little did I know that elation would quickly devolve into dread. Nothing seemed awry for the first few sessions. It was tough to memorize lines at 6 years old, but I managed somehow. The main focus for the first couple of days after that was when things started to get strange. When you picture a set of children's show, what comes to mind? A huge stage filled to the brim with props, maybe a green screen to film editing, perhaps a classroom or a playground. Well, the set of Little Annie's Amazing Adventure had none of those. No, all we had was a big red door. That's where the magic happened. I vividly remember the first time I crossed through it. The writing's really good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
My
a lot
English.
of big words that it's hard for you to pronounce, but...
See, what's bad is I know the words, but I'm a hot mess. But I feel like the first few paragraphs really do a good job at, like, bringing you in and hooking you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, it does really paint a picture for, like, what we all kind of went through as a kid. Most of us wouldn't have liked to be put in the spotlight.
Oh, I hated clowns. I was horrified of them.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because I grew up loving scary stuff. But just something about clowns horrified me. Like, my dad, the original It, not the one that came out a few years ago, the original one, he had a video of it on his flip phone, where it was like the sheets scene where the sheets pass by it, and it's, I see you. That scared the absolute hell out of me as a kid. So I didn't like clowns until recently, because they're creepy, and I love creepy. That's my childhood scary story. But I feel like clearing up the fact that it wasn't like what you would imagine a set to be lends really well to the writing as well. Because no one expects a set to just be a red door.
Right.
A big red door, nonetheless.
Huge red door.
Imagine my hair. I hate myself. Okay. Hey, this one's only 3 paragraphs. Boys and girls, Mr. Pip is going to show you where he lives. You have to promise that you will be on your best behavior, okay? A lot of us fervently... Big words. A lot of us fervently shake our heads in acceptance. Say it out loud so Mr. Pip knows that you mean it. We promise, we screamed, our voices jumbling together incoherently. Alrighty then. Follow me. Mr. Pip knocked 3 times, then he opened the door. We all filed through inside one by one. I will never forget what lay within. Beyond the threshold was a whimsical world filled with wacky creatures beyond belief. A red 6-legged camel lazily grazed purple swaying grass. Bluebirds floated aimlessly through the milky yellow sky, their beaks filled with rows of pristine white teeth. That is horrifying.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any bird with teeth. I mean, some birds do technically have teeth.
Yeah, but they're like...
Like, I think penguins have teeth, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But imagining birds with, like, pristine white teeth is horrifying.
I feel like the whole scene is just terrifying.
I don't know, some of it's, like, cool. Like, a 6-legged camel that's red. That's whimsical, that's fun. Birds with teeth? That's... No, thank you. We even watched a 4-eyed panda take a dip in a shimmering green river. That's giving, like... What's it called?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, kind of.
No, but not, like, same vein. I'm mad at myself for forgetting what... Wizard of Oz. The Emerald City.
Yeah.
I was awestruck as a child. I found the whole scene far less strange than I should have. Now I think it's downright horrifying. I guess I should have kept reading, because it would have conveyed both of our points.
Mm-hmm.
Once we were finished gawking at our surroundings, Mr. Pip turned to us with a wide grin plastered across his face. Come to the waterfall, kids. That's where we're filming today. Oh, and one more thing. If any of you so much as utter a single word of this place, especially to your parents, then Mr. Pip will slit your little throats, he said, his smile never wavering. A tense silence permeated the atmosphere. That moment will always stick out in my memory. It was the first time that I felt pure, genuine fear. I no longer saw Mr. Pip as some lovable, zany children's character. No, in my mind, he was a real-life monster.
Which I feel like you should kind of realize that a little sooner.
Yeah, the fact that he's taking a group of kids just into a random place, but not acknowledging the fact that it's full of whimsical, weird creatures. The fact that it's a lot of children and it's just him is really strange.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they mentioned that it's being filmed. They never said that earlier.
Yeah. There's more to the filmed aspect, though. But the fact that he says this all with the smile never leaving his face also helps convey that, hey, he might have done this before.
Yeah.
And by might have, I'm guessing he has.
Thumbnail shot.
Okay. "I'm for this way," the clown shouted, motioning for us to follow. We snapped out of our collective trance and diligently tagged along. As we trudged through the purple grass, I felt a slight tug on my sleeve. I turned to find a boy with curly hair and suspenders staring back at me. He was the one slated to play the role of George. "Hi, I'm Liam. I was just wondering, does Mr. Pip scare you?" he whispered, glancing anxiously between me and our leader. "Hi, I'm Hannah," I replied. "Yes, he scares me a lot. It's gonna be okay. I'll be brave for you," Liam said, his cheeks blossoming with color. I nodded in response, a smile tugging at the corner of my lips. I had made my first friend on set. Liam's presence made me feel slightly more at ease. "Okay, kids, here we are," Mr. Pip yelled. "Okay, kids, here we are," Mr. Pip yelled. Upon our arrival, neon green water cascaded down behind him, closely resembling a river of toxic waste. Toxic waste. I don't want to know what kind of monstrosities lurked in the luminescent depths. Each of us glanced around. The girl playing Alice broke the silence. Mr. Pip?" she asked timidly, awaiting his approval to continue. "Yes, Alice?" he replied, an eyebrow raised expectantly. Where are the cameras? Where's the director?" I furrowed my brow. She was right. I had never once seen a film crew anywhere in the vicinity. "Oh, silly girl, the cameras are all around you. They're hidden very well, so no one will find them. Rest assured, my dear child, the director is watching."
See, that's just another level of creepy, is
Yeah,
knowing you're always being watched.
It definitely is, and it adds on, because there's no crew there to film them.
Mm-hmm.
It is just them and the creepy-ass clown. That is it. Besides a bunch of supposedly hidden cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if I believe that. That sounds sketchy to me.
Which, it's good that all these kids are realizing this is not a great situation pretty early.
But, none of their parents are there. They're there alone. There's no crew. The director is just watching. Which, this makes me think of the whole, Red Room thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there are hidden cameras. There's no telling what these kids are going to go through or what's going to happen to them. And that's so sketchy. But, the writing's, top tier, though.
Yeah. It's good storytelling so far.
Yeah, definitely. I did not feel reassured in the slightest. In fact, I felt a chill run down my spine at his words. The director was watching us. Why wasn't he directing? I was starting to get a bad feeling about the entire thing. From Mr. From Mr. Pip's open threat to the absence of any visible recording equipment. Even as a child, I knew something was very wrong. Surprisingly, the remainder of the shoot went off without a hitch. We rehearsed our lines, acted out our parts, and once we were finished, Mr. Pip led us back to the red door. I remembered thinking that it looked out of place. Just a solitary door standing in the middle of a clearing. It was far less strange than the scenery surrounding it, but odd, all on its own. Good job today, everyone. Mr. Pip grinned as he shut the door behind us. Don't forget, if you tell your parents about any of this, I'll kill you. I can't. That is so, just the casualty of it, just, I'll kill you.
Mm-hmm. I like to imagine they were like walking past him as he said it.
Oh yeah, I could see that. The way he said that made me shudder. His tone was sickly sweet. The consequences of disobeying his order was crystal clear. Yet they were sugar-coated in the cheery tone. We all nodded in unison. Alrighty, kids. For all of your hard work, you get a popsicle. Go Pip.
This isn't gonna stop it.
Nope. Go pick one from the table over there. True to his words, 5 multicolored popsicles sat on the folding table before us. Being 6 years old, I bolted for the table, nearly tripping over my own feet in my rush to snag my frozen treat. They're rhyming!
Read it like a poem.
Jesus. If we were reading this like a poem, it would be even worse.
Yeah.
I would take a lick from my coveted popsicle, only for my memory to go blank until the next day. It took me way too long to realize what the true purpose of our frozen rewards served. What the fuck are they giving these children? To wipe their memory?
I mean, that's not the craziest thing we've seen so far.
I mean, definitely not, but like... I'm sorry, if I had kids and they were just like, oh yeah, we saw a 6-legged red camel, I'd be like, oh, it's just part of the show. Oh, it's just childlike imagination. Mm-hmm. Not like if it was like, oh, he threatened to kill us if we said anything. That would be cause for concern, obviously, but like...
That's not like they'll remember it.
Yeah. So, like, why threaten them in the first place? That's... I don't know how to feel about that.
How would they have remembered this?
Yeah, now, like, I have so many questions. I hope that they're cleared up from continuing, but... That's so strange, like... Okay. Things went smoothly for a while after that. We had shot several episodes worth of content with no further threats to our lives or any indication of that. Mr. Pip had any ulterior motives. That is until someone slipped up. Okay, kiddos, who's ready to have a wonderful day? An eruption of gleeful confirmations roared from our little mouths. I am. Me too, Mr. Pip. I can't wait. The irony of these words. Little did I know that would be one of the most traumatic days of my entire life. Damn! I mean, like, trauma is one thing, but, like, most traumatic?
I mean, so far it sounds pretty traumatic.
Well, yeah, but I know something.
Oh.
I know something you don't. I know something you never know. And by never know, I mean you will know shortly.
Hope so.
We're gonna have to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode because there's child abuse.
Yeah.
I eagerly rushed over to the red door, ready to embark on a new journey. I'll open it today, Mr. Pip, I said, yanking on the handle. The door flew open, only to reveal a brick wall. That's interesting. So the knocks did have some semblance. But my question is it only Mr. Pip who can do it, or is it the 3 knocks that, like, really signifies it?
I'd like to imagine it's just him. Like, he's the magic.
That would make a lot of sense. But I'm still curious nonetheless. Annie, you forgot to knock, silly goose. 3 times, then flung it open. Mr. Pip was right. That time, when the door flew open, I was met with the cartoonish world that I had come to adore so much. So it wasn't just him.
Right, but, like, would it have worked if he wasn't there?
That's a good question. Gets lost in thought. I'm almost wondering if Mr. Pip is kind of in the same vein of, like, Mary Poppins and Pennywise. Because have you seen the theories that they're the same creature?
I haven't.
Okay, so the theory is that Mary Poppins and Pennywise are the same creature, but Pennywise feeds on fear and Mary Poppins feeds on joy. So as she gets more and more beautiful, she gets more and more joy, and that's what she feeds on. But that's what I'm wondering if Mr. Pip is that same kind of, like, space primordial being type deal.
Like, he feeds off everyone watching this stuff.
Yeah. Because, like, it's a full world that they're going into, right? So, like, it has to be some amount of magic, especially seeing how before she knocked 3 times, it was just a brick wall behind the door. So, like...
No, I thought the camel was a good indication that it was a...
Well, yeah, but, you know, animatronics, costumes, stuff like that. But also, I don't know what, like, year this is supposed to indicate. Personally, from, like, the suspenders that Liam was wearing, that makes me think that it was before the 2000s, but it also could have just been costumes.
Right.
So, like, I'm curious about, like, what year this is supposed to be set in, along with if Mr. Pips is that kind of magical being.
Guess we'll find out.
And follow me now, children. Mr. Pip has somewhere special to take you. I nearly leapt out of my shoes with this excitement. Somewhere special? What could be better than dreamland we had already been privy to? I was itching to find out. As we walked down a red brick path, follow the yellow brick road. I'm noticing a theme of red today.
Oh, really?
I felt a familiar tug on my sleeve. I turned to find Liam shyly pulling at my shirt. Hannah, I think something's bad going to happen. I'm speaking like a child now. Hannah, I think something bad is going to happen. Can we stay together for today? I killed him. That wasn't part of the story. I killed him. I can't with myself. My enthusiasm began to wane. It suddenly dawned on me that special didn't necessarily equal good. I returned Liam's anxious gaze and nodded my head, slowing my pace to match his. Yeah, I would like that. We soon found ourselves We soon found ourselves standing at the edge of a ravine. Mr. Pip animatedly opened his arms and gestured toward the giant crevice. Here we are, everyone. Isn't it magnificent? I pursed my lips, gancing. God damn it.
I'm a great dancer.
I burped and laughed at the same time.
It's disgusting.
I pursed my lips, glancing at the other kids. They all looked equally as confused. Michael, come here. He pipped. Michael, come here, Mr. Pip has something to show you. The sandy-haired boy tasked with playing Michael emerged from the group.
Apprehensively.
The sandy-haired boy tasked with playing Michael emerged from the group, apprehensively joining Mr. Pip at the edge. The moment he was within arm's reach, the clown's demeanor shifted. He grabbed our he grabbed our fellow actor's wrist, violently pulling him forward. Pay attention, kids. This is what happens when you disobey Mr. Pip. God damn it. Michael here told his parents about our little secret. Isn't that right, Michael? The boy began to wail, his cries sending a wave of terror pulsing through my chest. This is supposed to be a horror story, and I can't stop laughing at me not being able to speak.
Yeah. It's
Honestly,
a rough first episode.
Yeah. But it is a first episode, so, like...
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I thought Liam would be the first one to go, in all honesty. Based on his, like, tugging on Hannah's sleeve, saying that he felt like something was gonna go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess children don't work like that. Children don't work like that.
I mean, like, for their sake, I hope they don't tell anyone.
Oh yeah, well apparently Michael did. Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Pip. I won't do it again, I promise. Mr. Pip knows that you won't do it again, he grinned, hovering the terrified child over the edge, because Mr. Pip won't give you the chance. No, please! Mr. Pip released his grasp on the child's wrist. For a split second, we could see the fear behind the boy's eyes as he fell. Damn.
Spooky.
No, because, like, that's a horrible way to go, just falling to your death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd almost rather freeze to death. Which isn't really much better, neither's burning or drowning.
Yeah, quite frankly, I'd like to live.
I have a dark mind, I guess. I don't know, that's just, like, such a more brutal way to kill someone than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the threat of I'll slit your throat.
Right.
Huh. Okay. Still, like, amazing writing.
Which I guess is a less traumatizing way for the kids, but
I don't
nonetheless,
know. That's still, like, really up there in trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And then he disappeared from you. Come here, everyone. Come look, Mr. Pip shouted, waving us over. I rushed to the edge, praying that somehow our castmate would be okay. That by some stroke of luck, the fall wouldn't be that great. But my prayers fell on deaf ears. It was at least a 60-foot drop. At the bottom of the ravine, the boy's body lay mangled and broken. Blood pooling around his motionless form. Keep looking, kids. This is the best part. Mr. Pip giggled, clapping his gloved hands together.
Alright, so I take it back. That's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, like, I've seen some fucked up shit happen, mostly on horror movies, obviously.
Mm.
Nothing leading to someone's death in real life. Wow. To experience that as a kid, too, that's, like, a whole different level of...
That's gotta be rough.
Yeah. We watched in sheer horror as beasts of all kinds surrounded the child's lifeless body. Damn, I'm sorry, I can't get over that. Like, ugh.
Mm-hmm. Like, what kind of beasts? Like, do we ever get to hear about that?
Sinking their jagged teeth into his corpse. I couldn't watch any longer. My stomach churned. And I was helpless to stop. The cheese pizza I had for lunch from spewing all over the grass with watery eyes. I glanced up at Mr. Pip. He was loving every second of it. Do you remember the first day of filming when Mr. Pip said there were hidden cameras? The lunatic asked, his gaze glued to the twisted scene before him. He received no response. Well, Mr. Pip never said the cameras were just in the studio.
Now that
explains how he would know if the kids told their parents or anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't even occur to me how he would have found that out.
It didn't me either until reading that line. Also, that raises another question for me. Like, are the cameras magic? I mean, I guess they would be, considering this whole...
No way they aren't.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure a parent would notice if there was a camera just chilling in their house somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. That... Oh. Jesus. Okay. I staggered backwards, falling into another kid's arms. It was Liam. Don't worry. I won't let him get you.
That's cute.
Liam, oh. No, because now I still have a bad feeling about Liam.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna make me get attached to him. Damn it. He whispered into my ear. I was in complete shock, yet his words offered me a tiny sliver of solace. I wish I could say that was the last time we visited the ravine. That no one else had died at the hands of that evil clown, but unfortunately, I can't. One by one, my classmates cracked. Next, the girl who played Alice, then the boy casted as Tim. I suddenly realized that Liam and I were the only ones left. I don't know how they explained the deaths to the parents. Maybe they were told that the children ran away. Maybe they were informed that there had been an accident while shooting, or the thought that gives me chills even to this day. Maybe they were paid to keep their mouths shut. Needless to say, I was beginning to dread going to film every day. Unfortunately, I would only have to endure for a little longer. Unfortunately, I will never recover from the event that killed my film career.
I mean, it kind of makes you think, like, if all the parents knew that they were doing this, is it the kind of magic, like, you forget everything whenever someone dies?
See, that's what my assumption was. But Hannah, our main character in the story, seems to almost lean towards the parents being paid off. Mm-hmm. But I feel like magic is a more viable option here. Because, like, I don't...
But, I mean, like, in any dire situation, you're going to hold on to hope.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know any parents who would take money to ignore the fact that their kids died. But there are some horrible people out in the world, so I can't really say that. Damn. I wonder how old Hannah is, because this is written from her point of view, like how old she is now. Because it's clear that she survived. Whew. God damn. I remember my final stint on set like it was yesterday.
Vehemently.
I remember my final stint on set like it was yesterday. I desperately begged my mother not to take me. To no avail. The way she saw it, I was a star, and nothing would stop me from achieving the fame I deserved. I was trembling when Mom dropped me off. She didn't normally leave me alone if there were no adults present. But on the way to the studio, Mom had received a call from my grandmother. Grandpa had fallen down the stairs again. He was in stable condition, but looking back, I think she wanted to kill two birds with one stone. Mom wanted to ensure that I was there to film while visiting Grandpa alone in case his injuries were worse than Grandma let on. I don't blame her, not anymore, but that still doesn't change what happened.
Mm-hmm.
See, my first thought reading that is, did Pip hurt her grandpa?
Like, he knew that she was trying not to get there.
Yeah. Because, like, that's what immediately came to my mind, that he had to create something so that the mom wasn't there.
Right.
Jesus. Once the door clicked shut behind my mother, I found myself standing in an empty auditorium. I cautiously claimed a seat in the front row and stared up at the stage. It was devoid of any props, just as it had been on my first day, all except for the red door. It loomed ominously above me, radiating a sinister aura. I froze. It was faint, but I could have sworn that for a moment I heard a voice emanating from behind that eerie wooden frame. Annie. My legs shook as I hesitantly made my way up the steps. Every synapsis in my brain was screaming at me to turn back, to ignore the damned thing and call my mother to come get me, but I couldn't. I just had to know. I pressed my ear against the hard wood, straining my ears for any indication of sound. Annie. There it was again. I knew for a fact I heard a muffled voice calling from me from beyond the threshold. My heart slammed against my little chest like a jackhammer. A nauseating cocktail of fear and curiosity ate away at me. I couldn't stop myself. Before I knew what I was doing, I extended my fist to the door, lightly knocked 3 times. The door swung inwards of its own volition. The same wacky cartoon world that I had grown accustomed to stood before me. As always, only this time it was different. It looked gray and gloomy, like the embodiment of depression. No birds flew in the sky. No herbivores grazed the purple grass. No aquatic creature floundered in the river. Even so, I was powerless to prevent my legs from moving forward. The door slammed shut. The moment I stepped through it, I gulped, taking deep breaths like Mom taught me to do when I was anxious. That helped a little. I glanced around, trying to pinpoint where the voice was coming from. Annie, over here. I shuddered. The call seemed to drift from a cluster of bright yellow boulders to my right. I shuffled over to it, blood pounding in my ears. Each step felt heavy, like I was underwater. I knew that I shouldn't look, but some invisible force continued to propel me forward. Once I finally rounded the corner, I was met with a horrifying sight. Mr. Pip and Liam were standing behind the rock. The demented clown held my friend in the air by his neck. Liam fruitlessly clawed at Mr. Pip's stained white gloves, desperately trying to free himself. I gasped, struggling to comprehend what I was seeing. Mr. Pip looked wrong. Where his red wig once was, big, scraggly hairs dotted his scalp in ugly, uneven patches. His polka dot jumpsuit was torn intermittently, and I could make out a deep lacerations visible underneath the fabric. His face paint was cracked and dried out, like an arid desert landscape. Black eyeliner trailed down his cheeks like rivers of dark tears. And those teeth, rows upon rows of yellow, razor-sharp teeth jolted from his lips like kitchen knives. At that moment, I understood Mr. Pip to be the epitome of evil. Please put him down, I squeaked, Please, I put him down, I squeaked, mustering every ounce of courage I had left. Mr. Pip is sorry, Annie. You see, Liam did something bad. He had told the police about Mr. Pip, and naughty boys need to be punished. To my absolute horror, Mr. Pip began to cackle as he removed a dirty glove from his hand. He held a serrated claw to Liam's quivering throat, then momentarily shifted his gaze to me. Now's your chance, Annie. Say goodbye to George. No! I screamed. My scream made no difference. Mr. Pip stabbed the elongated digit deep into Liam's throat, brutally sliding it across. Dark, viscous liquid began gushing from Liam's neck. I could see the light fade away from his eyes. With one last breath, he whispered, "Run." That was the kick I needed. Adrenaline crashed through my system like a tidal wave. I bolted for the door. Mr. Pip's demented laugh boomed into the desolate atmosphere. I never looked back. My life depended on it. Once I reached the door, it flung open and sprawled out into the stage. I instantly slammed the wretched thing shut. Then I did something that may have saved my life. I opened the door without knocking, leaving an empty entrance leading to a brick wall. I couldn't take it after that. I broke down and cried for what must have been hours. By the time Mom rushed into the auditorium, I was curled into the fetal position, muttering Liam's name over and over again. I was inconsolable for a long time afterward. I tried speaking to my friends and family about what I experienced on the set of Little Annie's Amazing Adventure. No matter how passionate I am, no one believes me. According to them, the show never existed, and apparently neither did the network set to run the program. But I know it was real. Those children, that whimsical, Seuss-esque world, Mr. Pip, they did exist, and recently I was not so subtly reminded of that fact. You see, I finally moved out of my childhood home and into a cozy little apartment. My old room didn't have a closet, but this one does, and I swear, ever since I moved in, I have been hearing 3 soft knocks drifting from inside.
That's kind of insane.
Holy fuck, the writing? Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you want to check out this author, their username on Reddit is HorrorJunkie123. Horror is capitalized. Holy, whew.
The description all the way through that last part was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. The writer tucked here. I would love to go back and read more of their stuff if they have any more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, wow. So, definitely, in the vein of me thinking that Pip was kind of like Pennywise in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely seemed to be, confirmed. But, just, wow. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, theory time.
Theory time.
We're not putting a theme song in for that.
I know. I just have shit stuck in my head. Anyways.
What do you think the reason is? Even after she tells everyone, why doesn't she get punished?
Well, what I gathered what I gathered from the story, sorry I tapped my earbud,
Right.
was she escaped because she 3 times on the door, sealing that world. Like, you notice all she hears...
with Mr. Pippin in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You notice all she hears from her closet is... It's not, like, nothing has come out of it. At least not in the story that I just finished reading. Right. So I'm guessing that 3 knocks is what really just saved her life. Like she said in the story. Like, if she didn't do that and she just kept running, I'm pretty sure she would have gotten caught and killed.
Right.
God damn. That was a wild story. That was so good. Like,
it was.
Wow. Again, we are Serenity and Eric from Threads Unraveled. And I hope you have a wonderful day.